שבט אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבט אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, שבט אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים,
Huh? Oh, other Molly. It's like, yeah, so there's a Taurus behind me. Hello, hello, hello. Shalom, everybody. Woo! It's Labor Day weekend. This is already more people than I was expecting. Good. All right. We're going to be on page 3. Hopefully you all grabbed, we have a special Siddur for the month of Elul, the Shabbatot leading up to Rosh Hashanah. So if you did not grab one of those prayer books on your way in, there's some right there where mommy is. Thank you. Good. We're going to be on page 3. All right, we are going to stay on page 3 and sing Dodi Li, which is at the top of the page, which is a text that comes from the Song of Songs. And it's a text that we sing sometimes at weddings, sometimes during the month of Elul. I talked a few weeks ago about how one of the rabbis say that one of the texts that Elul draws its name from is from the words Ani Ladodi V'Dodi Li, which is connected to this. If you know this one, please sing along. It's an oldie but a goodie. On page 6, there's a special reading for the season that we are in, the month of Elul, at the top of the page. Before we slip too quickly into the season of the soul, let there be a Sabbath of Sabbaths for the heart. Before the music of creation's majesty, let there be a silent praise of existence. Before the feast of sanctified words, let there be a poetry of solitude. Before we enter the palaces of prayer, let us find within ourselves a place of calm. Before we revel in the wondrous and sublime, let there be an honest inward gaze. Before the rites and ceremonies of awe, let there be quieter days, an island of attentiveness. We're going to light our candles now and say the blessing over the wine on page 10 as we welcome in Shabbat officially. And let's see, Judy and Ed, would you be willing to light the candles for us? Thank you. It's probably better. You might want to do it from down there. No? Now I feel like it's setting people up. Sometimes have to know. Master. Master. Always. Thank you. All right, let's draw in the spirit of Shabbat. Let's join together in our blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlikner shel Shabbat. Thank you. And before we join together in our Kiddush, does anyone have any simcha, something joyous that you're celebrating on this Shabbat? Birthday, anniversary. We'll all just give a shout out to Jack and Frankie Bookie, who celebrated their 70th wedding anniversary this week, 2 days ago. So mazel tov to them. If they were here, they would say that and have like 5 other things, because they always have a lot of simchas to share. Anyone else? Marnie. Yay! Quinn got to go back to work. And what? And got a raise. Mazel tov. Yay. Yes, Sue. Ooh, 9th wedding anniversary. Mazel tov. Marnie. Arnie is going to be, reading from the Torah for the first time. So you all need to come back tomorrow morning to support him. Nicole. Yay! Family visiting. So happy to have you here. Wonderful. All right. Let's join together in Kiddush on middle of page 10. Nope, page 12. Please join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehila lemikra kodesh zecher l'tziyat mitzrayim ki vanu v'charta v'tanu ki dashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava u'ratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. L'chaim. All right. Turn now to page 21. Two angels follow me home, chesed and guvara, which means kindness and judgment. Love and discipline may both dwell within me, gentleness and generosity that expand my soul, firmness and self-restraint, the strength to say no. On this day of shalom, may I be shalem, well-balanced and whole. We'll turn now to page 22 on the next page for L'chad Odi, welcoming in our Sabbath bride.
Shalom,
standing as we move to the Baruch Hu, our call to worship, which is on page 26. All be seated, and we are going to continue on page 28 with Ma'ariv Aravim, giving thanks for the miracles that exist in the natural world, giving thanks for our planet and the changing seasons, odd as they may be right now. We are going to sing, we're going to join together and sing Hava's version of Ma'ariv Aravim, so if you know it, please sing along. I know this is something that we've done a lot in our community, and if you're newer to our TBT community, then the melody might not be as familiar, but once you catch on, you can join with us. Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bivaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma, poteach sharim, uvitfuna mishanei itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotechem arki akitzono, borei We move from Ma'ariv Aravim into Ahavat Olam, giving thanks for the gift of Torah, that gift of knowledge and the foundation of ever questioning and wanting to continue to dig deeper. Let's join together, excuse me, in the English on page 30. Love beyond all space and time, your love enfolds your people, Yisrael. We received it in your teaching, your gift of Torah, sacred obligations, discipline, and law. So let us speak these teachings when we lie down and rise up, and find joy forever in your Torah and mitzvot. They are the very essence of our life, ours to ponder and study all our days. May we never lose or be unworthy of your love. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema is on pages 32 and 33. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibartam bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha v'lechtecha v'derech v'shochbecha uv'kumecha v'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam hamzuzot beitecha uvisharecha. Page 36. Leman tizkerehu vasitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem meretz Mitzrayim liyot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. On page 41 at the top, crossing the sea. Eternal, watch over my small domain of light and shadow, those few people who share my love, and all others upon this earth that sometimes shakes with thunder and reverberates with lightning. Help us to live with fear and conquer rage. Heal the hate that makes us kill and covers the ground with this Red Sea that only you can part, so we may all walk through the wilderness to your realm of peace, where all men and women are one, and sing your blessed name. Join together in Michamocha on page 40, celebrating that redemption, that freedom into the wilderness to go on the journey. On page 42, we have Hashkivenu, our prayer asking for God to create a shelter of peace over us, a Sukkot Shalom, as we move through that journey in the wilderness. Fatima, the final line of the blessing at the bottom. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkah, shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim, ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim, shalom. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkah, shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. We transition now from the Baruch Hu Shema and its surrounding blessings into the Amidah. Amidah begins on page 48, giving us an opportunity to center ourselves before moving into Avot V'Imahot. If you're able, please rise and we'll join together. Open my eyes to truth, open my hands to give freely, open my lips to good words, to pure words, open my heart to love, open
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. We do not get the opportunity to use this prayer book that often, this Siddur. We use it during the month of Elul. There are many, many reflections in the pages we just read, and then in the pages following that through to our prayer for peace. So I invite you to take some time now to explore some of the readings in here, see if anything resonates with you, and also take a moment to speak, pray, whatever's in your heart, and when you're done, you can be seated.
Page 69. For all these gifts, for the gifts I received today, air in my lungs, pulse in my veins, my restless mind alive and curious, awakening suddenly to beauty, for love and the memory of love, forgiveness when I didn't deserve it, another chance at life. Let my soul give thanks to you. Let me not forget your kindness. Turn one page to page 70 for Shalom Rav, our prayer for peace. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Ne'elam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Ne'elam. Ki atah And as we do every Shabbat, we take a moment to think about our loved ones who are in need of healing, and we say a special prayer for them, our Mishaberach blessing, which is on page 77 in this Siddur. Asking for God to be a source of strength and courage for all those who are in need of healing. This Shabbat, we are praying for the healing of Azrael Early, Rohan Early, Orly Sherman, Amy Thornton, Laura Armstrong, Stacy Hetzel, Diane Turner, Jacqueline Tara Smith, Deborah Rose, Eileen Kreisman, Ronnie Haber, Carlene Ackerman, Vadim Barzam, Jill Ferleo, Ellen Gottlieb, Marlene Brock, Vanessa Bianco, John Lang, Jack Sani, Paul McCready, Janelle Cohen, Glenn Letts, Jesse Early, Andrea Gorovich, Joni Michaels, Heidi Neiman, Carl Wilhite, Trudy Hendrickson, Jeannie Gaston, David Seligman, Cindy Balin, Daniel Kaplan, Janine Drebin, Joe Dover, and Lila Spiegelman. If there are other names you'd like to add to our Mishaberach list, I invite you to do so now. And if you are on the live stream and you have names of someone you want to share, please share their names in the chat with us. Join together as one community in the words of Mishaberach, middle of page 77.
May the source of strength who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu, kor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
All right. I have a little story, but I'm going to need your help, so it'll just be more fun that way if you all help participate. So, I'm going to assign some parts. This is obviously one group. Over here, raise your hand if you want to be in group 2. Okay, family divided. Christine, you'll be in group 3. Sebastian in group 3. Lydia and Grandma, you can be group 3. Nicole, you're sticking group 2. You can go with group 3. Let's say there's a nice little break here. Let's have group 3. Group 3. Liana over. Okay? Okay. Group 1, you ready? This is your part. When I point to you, you're going to say, he cut and he snipped and he stitched and he sewed. We're not talking about what you think you're talking about. Ready? He cut and he snipped and he stitched and he sewed. Let's do it again. He cut and he snipped and he stitched and he sewed. All right, you got it? Sort of? I'll help you. You'll have it by the end of this try. Okay, this group 2. You ready? Yours is a lot easier. Sorry. When I point to you, you're going to say, throw it out with that kind of attitude. Throw it out. Go for it. Okay, good. All right, you got it. And, well, let's see. Good. Great. Okay, group 3, you're going to be, what? I'm a tailor. Okay. What? I'm a tailor. Let's try it again. Liana, ready? What? I'm a tailor. No, you're on it. You thought I was going to go to 2, but I went to 3. Okay, one more time with conviction. Okay, if you're online, you're group 3. They need more enthusiasm, right? All right, okay. All right, are we ready? Okay, this is a story some of you may know about a man named Joseph. Joseph was a tailor. Now, Joseph was a very good tailor for everybody in town. But the thing about Joseph is that he didn't take the best care of his own clothes. So he looked kind of schlubby, except for he had one thing that he treasured and he took care of, and that was a long coat of many colors. And he made this coat when he was just starting out as a tailor. He was so proud of it. It's what launched his career. And so that coat he loved dearly. He took such good care of it, but he also wore it every single day. And now he was an old man. So he'd been wearing this coat for a long, long time. So one day, Joseph is on his way to work. He's running a little bit late, as usually happens with Joseph. And so as he starts running to try and get to work on time, all of a sudden he trips. And he's like, why did I just trip? He looks down and he sees that the bottom of his beloved coat is starting to get frayed. The bottom is becoming dirty, it has fringes, it's gross. And he's so upset. He goes home after work that day. He goes to his wife, Sarah, and he says, Sarah, I'm so upset. This is my coat, my beloved coat. I made this as a kid. It's been with me my whole life. What am I going to do? Now, Sarah, I'll tell you something, never liked the coat. So it was not hard for Sarah to say, Joseph, but Joseph said, so he snipped and he stitched and he sewed. You got it. And he turned that coat into a short jacket, a very nice jacket. So now he was thrilled because not only did he wear that jacket to and from work, but he could wear it all day long while he was working. So he kept wearing that jacket. And one day he was reaching up to get a very specific piece of spool of thread up way high, and all of a sudden he heard a big rip. And he looks at his jacket and he sees a huge hole in the armpit. He goes home, Sarah, my jacket, which was a coat, and now it's a jacket, but now it's ripped. What am I going to do? And Sarah said, and Joseph said, so, and he snipped, and he stitched, and he sewed. And he turned that jacket into a nice vest. Just took those arms right off. And he wore that vest around all day long. At work, at home, for Shabbat, never took that thing off. So, understandably, it started to smell really gross. And one day he was working, and he reached up again to grab some spool of thread, but this time, all the customers went running. He's like, what? And then he realized, oh, that's not good. He could smell it himself. So he went home, he said, Sarah, kind of embarrassed. I love my vest, which was my coat, and I'm turning my jacket, and now my vest, and I love it, but oof, it does not smell great. I don't really know what to do. And Sarah said, Joseph, seriously? And Joseph said, so he cut, and he snipped, and he stitched, and he sewed. And he turned that vest into a nice tie. Now, he took just the pieces that didn't smell, got rid of those, the armpit pieces. He had a very beautiful tie. Now the tie he's not going to wear every day to work, but he wears it to nice occasions. He wears it to Shabbat dinner. And one Shabbat dinner, he's enjoying some delicious matzo ball soup, and it's really good. But Joseph is not the cleanest eater. He's kind of sloppy. And so by the end of the meal, there's schmutz all down his necktie. It is pretty gross. And so he washes it and he tries as best as he can to get all those stains out, but he cannot get them out. And so he's like, Sarah, I don't know what to do here. Now it's just a necktie, but I really want to keep it. I don't know what to do. And Sarah said, Joseph? And Joseph said, so he cut and he snipped and he stitched and he sewed. And he turned that necktie into a button. It's down to just one little button. And he used that button to hold up his pants with his suspenders. And he thought, you know what? It's not my jacket. It's not a coat. It's not a vest. It's not a necktie. But at least I have this button, and it's, I know it's there, and to me, it represents the coat, and so it's okay. It's going to be all right. So he used the button. All was good. He's going along his way. And then, wouldn't you know, because Joseph is always late for work, as it turns out, he starts running to get to work, and all of a sudden he trips again. And why did he trip this time? He tripped because his pants are starting to fall off. Catches those, crisis averted, and he's like, why are my pants falling off? The button fell off. It was gone. He goes home to Sarah. Sarah, my button, it's gone. It was a jacket. I had the coat and the jacket and then the vest and the necktie, and all I had was this one little button. That's all I had, and now it's gone. I'm so upset. And Sarah says, Joseph, got to tell you something. Today, I am one happy woman because you are an excellent tailor. But even I know that you can't make something out of nothing. And Joseph said, well, Sarah, in addition to being a very good tailor, I am also a pretty good storyteller. And so he went and he got a piece of paper and he got a pencil and he wrote down the story just as we told it today, which just goes to show that you can make something out of nothing. There's a Yiddish proverb that I'm sure many of you have heard, that says, asks the questions, why were human beings created? And the Yiddish proverb says, because God loves stories. And what I love about this story is I love that, two things. I love that it highlights that in the end it's not about necessarily what we have, but it's about how we live in the stories we tell. But one of the things I was thinking about with this story, the Shabbat, is that we're in this month, the month of Elul, which could be nothing. It could be, in terms of the Jewish calendar and the Jewish holidays, there's not actually a lot happening in Elul. Judaism doesn't give us, other than blowing the shofar, we're not given specific things to do during the month of Elul. Our other sort of counting period is the Omer. We're told to count each day and say a blessing. With all our holidays, we have a lot of ritual objects, things we do. Elul is not that. It's just sort of this transitional month. It's the end of the Jewish year, and it's also this month that leads into the High Holy Days. And so it could easily be just the month leading up to Rosh Hashanah, and we could show up at Rosh Hashanah, and that could be that. But it's also this opportunity to think about what we want to make of it. There's a lot, it's a little overwhelming because sometimes it's easier to be told, here's what you should do. But at the same time, it's amazing how you can breathe so much life into that when you're given the container without the specific details. And the other thing that I love about this story is that it's all about the importance of passing on stories and telling our stories. And in our Torah portion this week in Ki Tavo, the Israelites, Moses is giving the Israelites instructions about what to do when they get into the Holy Land. And there are very specific things, which we'll talk a little bit more about tomorrow morning. But the first thing that you're supposed to do, the Israelites were supposed to do when they got into the Holy Land, the very first thing is essentially Hakarat Hatov, recognizing the good. They're supposed to gather a harvest, the sweet things, find the sweet things, and say thank you, essentially, for the sweetness. But the second thing they're supposed to do is say a phrase that is probably familiar to many of us from the Passover story, which is that my father was a wandering Aramean, right? And so you're supposed to, essentially, when we arrive at this new place, we're supposed to give thanks and also tell our story. Look back at where we came from, lest that we forget our heritage, our family, our teachings, what all the things leading up to making us who we are. There's tremendous power in that sense of storytelling and remembering. And so on this Shabbat, but also during this month of Elul, I want to invite you, encourage you to maybe think about, one, how do you want to use this space, this time of Elul? Maybe it's nothing, but maybe you want to make something out of nothing. And also think about your stories. What are the stories, maybe from this past year? What are the stories of your family? And when we are thinking about our goals for the coming year, which we'll be doing during the Yamim Noraim, we're all about who we want to be, right? How we want to live. We all want to have a meaningful story. And so maybe this time next year, asking yourself now, okay, this time next year, what do I want the story of my year to be? Because it's up to you to figure out what that's going to be. All you need to do is to think about what's inside of you and go from there. So, Shabbat Shalom. And if it's not too early, Shana Tova. Stressful to say, but Shana Tova to you all. And we're going to continue with the Aleinu, which is our prayer reminding us that it's our obligation to do the work of Tikkun Olam, to follow the mitzvot in order to try and better our world. The Aleinu is on page 78 in our Siddur. If you're able, please rise. We'll join together. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת תפילה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 80. V'nemar Ya Adonai V'melech HaKol Haaretz Bayom Hahu Yeh Adonai Echad U'Shemo May be seated. I am going to, actually, let's continue with Mourner's Kaddish on page 86. Yes. Our thoughts turn to loved ones whom death has taken from us in recent days and those who died at this season in years past. Our hearts open as well to the wider circles of loss in our community and wherever grief touches the human family. We say Zikronam Livracha, which means may their memories be for a blessing now and always. On this Shabbat, we are in the 30-day period of mourning the loss of Joyce Milstein, the mother of Pam Auerbach, and mother-in-law of Dave, grandmother to Natanya and Ariana. And we also remember For a blessing in the Shabbat, Lester Joseph Asher, Benjamin Dwoskin, Susan Hackenen McDaniel, Johnny Hyde, Erwin M. Jaffa, Alice Newmark, Joe Pardo, and Irving Potashnik. If there are other loved ones that you're remembering in the Shabbat, I invite you to rise in your place and say the name nice and loud, the name of the person you're remembering, your relationship to them, so we can help support you as mourners. And if you're on the live stream, please share in the chat. If you're able, please rise. We'll join together in the words of Kaddish on page 86. Yikadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah, v'alma divrach hirte v'yamlich malchute, v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chaye dekol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei d'kudsha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. You may be seated. Oh, say shalom b'mamav, oh, say shalom aleinu. Ed, are you our board rep? Or Nikki? Come on up, Nikki. It's you now.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
On behalf of the board of directors, welcome, both online and thank you to all of you who have come in person. So obviously we have a lot going on coming up to the high holidays. So a week from tomorrow is Slichot, where our choir and Cantor David will be helping lead. And before that, we have a dinner and a movie to watch, correct?
Oh, yes.
And then on Wednesday, this next Wednesday, the Sisterhood is hosting an event here. So there's more information. Please sign up and join that. And we can listen to Arnie chant Torah tomorrow. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Wonderful. All right. Lydia and Liana, will you come up and help me lead Hamotzi? All right. Everybody take up the cover. We'll join together. Ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon. Shabbat Shalom. We'll join together in a little Ojiavo, and while we're singing Ojiavo, you can take off a little piece of that challah and maybe pass around, see if anyone wants it, okay?
or hold it so she can take some challah. Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu ve'amulam. Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu ve'amulam. Salam aleinu ve'amulam, salam shalom. Salam aleinu ve'amulam, salam shalom. Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu ve'amulam. Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu, Odivo shalom aleinu ve'amulam. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Please join us in the Oneg Hall, social hall for a little Oneg. Is this a Maria dress? Oh, okay.